And welcome into Pat's Latest. I'm your host, Mike Gambardella, and the 2025 NFL Draft is officially closed. The New England Patriots have added a plethora of young players to their roster, as well as several undrafted free agents. It's ballooned up to 92 players total for the 2025 version of the New England Patriots, and we have everything for you from day 3 of the NFL Draft and more. Before we get started, make sure you go down and subscribe for our channel. Get into the comments and let us know what draft grade you would give the Patriots on 3 days worth of work adding young players to the roster. And make sure you give us a like if you like what you hear, and go back and check out our other episodes once you finish today's. We start with those day 3 picks and looking at the focus for Elliott Wolf, Mike Vrabel, and company. And Elliott Wolf stuck true to his word after a day of adding players, or really 2 days after Will Campbell on Thursday night. The Patriots shifted their focus to the defensive side of the ball and special teams, in addition to a few late 7th rounders as well. But as the 4th round opened up, they immediately targeted California safety Craig Woodson at number 106 overall, a player who can do a lot of different things in addition to probably being a top contributor on special teams, and someone who will really start to build out the safety depth and could actually play nickel in certain spots as well. So a guy that can come in. I believe Daniel Jeremiah actually had Woodson as a potential starter in this draft. He will not be so for the Patriots, but again, speaking to the talent level that the Patriots continued to accrue in this draft, really bodes well for the selections that were made both early and late for the New England Patriots. Additionally, they did trade up in the 4th round, moving up to 137 to take Joshua Farmer. And Farmer, the defensive tackle from FSU, was actually one targeted by myself in yesterday's episode as a player that actually could be selected at 106. So the fact that he was still there almost 30 picks later was great to see the Patriots move up for the 6'3", 305-pounder. That will absolutely eat up space in the middle, and a player that should be in the rotation as a potential starter here for the New England Patriots. And on his post-draft call with the media, Farmer was quick to say that Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, and I will be bringing back the old New England. So someone who's excited gets it, and Mike Vrabel once again puts his stamp on that trench picks, if you will. They additionally added one in the 5th in Braden Swinson, the edge defender from LSU, and another one while Farmer was potentially looked at as a top 75 player in this draft. Braden Swinson was not much farther back at a top 80 player and actually graded out as the second best win rate at the edge position in the entire draft class, behind only Abdul Carter. So again, a very talented player who was again left out to the 5th round just based upon what other teams seem to be valuing and going after. And as we talked about for many weeks leading up to this draft, while there was a couple of those generational players at the start, what you saw from pick number 5 to again now into the early and mid 5th round is players that could potentially be a starter for you. And while Braden Swinson will not necessarily have to do that at the start of his career, he definitely will be in that edge rotation and will give the Patriots much more bite from the defensive end, and not just having Keon White to send out there as well. The Patriots actually did pick up a starter in the 6th round, and again, joining Farmer as one of those players that we targeted, another one, Andres Borregales, the kicker from University of Miami, being taken in the 6th round, top kicker in this draft. Again, a big need for the Patriots, and another one that they were able to check the box next to, and again, doing so in a different way than we've seen in the past, we'll say 6 years, where Chad Ryland was picked, but taken in the 4th round. So again, taking the best kicker in the draft, but waiting until the 6th, again, getting a potential starter. He will definitely be in a competition with John Parker Romo, who is currently on the roster and likely will have that king competition throughout training camp. But again, another need for the Patriots immediately checked off in that regard. And then three picks made in the seventh round as well. A depth add on the offensive line and tackle Marcus Bryant from Missouri. A mildly surprising long snapper selection, regarded as the top long snapper in this draft. It was Julian Ashby out of Vanderbilt. But again, Joe Cardona has been here and kind of that only remaining Patriot from that last Super Bowl team. But again, that does mean he was one of the elder statesmen on this roster. So again, something else to add competition at all positions. And again, competition going to bring out the best in everybody. And while it's tough to hear that, Joe won't automatically be guaranteed that spot, again, going back to competition breeds the best brand of football you can put out there. And finally, the Patriots continued to make several different moves and ended up with the last pick in the NFL draft, which means they were responsible for taking this year's Mr. Irrelevant. And that award actually goes to Memphis cornerback Kobe Minor and was off several draft boards. But again, I think a player that flew under the radar a bit. But one Elliott Wolf actually had earmarked for a while, and when that, in that final spot, and as they were able to pick up a late seventh rounder, felt comfortable picking up a player they could see developing into a potential nickel or dime cornerback, contributing on special teams, and potentially down the line in the return game as well. So a lot of moves on day three for the Patriots, but I think overall continuing a strong performance in Mike Vrabel's first season as the head coach of the New England Patriots. Overall, and looking at that draft grade, for me, they earned an A minus overall. And I think coming into this, if that's the type of grade that you thought you were coming away with, you'd absolutely sign up for that. It had run the gamut based upon what we've seen from early returns from different media outlets. We've seen A plus, A minus, B plus. B plus was about the lowest that we've seen for the Patriots, and they have been regarded as one of the top 5 drafts thus far around the NFL. And again, the front office, ownership, head coach, everyone should be commended on what they were able to accomplish by both taking the best available players and addressing needs at the same time. Too many times, I think, in the past few years, is that they had targeted need over potentially what was available on the board. This year, you very much saw them moving around and navigating much better and getting up and down in spots that both served what they saw for their own boards and what other players were available based on what other NFL teams were actually judging for the consensus board, which many times both GMs and coaches will pretty much base everything else off as well. The reason for me they're getting the A minus instead of an A or an A plus is that, while Will Campbell, I think, will be a top contributor, leader, and fiery personality in that locker room, there is no superstar. And I think Dravion Henderson may take umbrage with that statement. But again, I think someone who has to earn it a little bit more. I think there's some grumblings to say that, oh, that's the next Jahmyr Gibbs in the league. Well, Jahmyr Gibbs was a top 15, 16 pick in the NFL draft. Dravion Henderson is a top second rounder. So a little bit different there, and give it some time. But again, going through this and getting 3 or 4 starters within their draft selections, key depth throughout, addressing positions in need while still getting top picks around the board as well. I think extremely well done by everyone in New England. For me, there might have been a couple places I would have gone differently. Luther Burden on the top of that second round, who went right after that Travion Henderson pick, for me, could have been a different option, but would have meant someone like Kyle Williams, that is, would not be here because you would have addressed the wide receiver spot elsewhere. So again, I think there's always opportunities and spots where you will question and judge where and why the decisions were made. But I think all in all, a true win for the Patriots, and looking at it on the whole, and as we will continue to do in the coming weeks, looking at a Patriots team that will probably boast at least nine new starters on that starting offense and defense out of that starting 22 throughout free agency and the NFL draft, definitely has New England in a much different spot than they were at the end of 2024, and a reason for optimism all around. And I keep ringing the bell of this could be a playoff team, and I think after this draft, many people around the league, around the country, media members as well, are starting to realize that Mike Vrabel at the reins of this, Drake May able to take a year two leap. There's now more talent than there has been in several years. This absolutely could be a playoff team in 2025. Additionally, looking at that quarterback position, knowing that the Patriots had drafted, signed Joshua Dobbs to the roster and traded Joe Milton to the Cowboys, there was a opening for that third quarterback spot. There was a potential that the Patriots could have drafted one. They opted not to burn a pick and rather build out their depth elsewhere, but immediately did sign a undrafted free agent deal with Louisiana quarterback Ben Waldridge. He was one of 11 undrafted signings for the Patriots, and now Ben Waldridge will have a chance to earn that third QB spot. He started actually at Fresno State before transferring to Louisiana and played in 29 games over his collegiate career. Was just over a 60% completion percentage for his time at the collegiate ranks, racking up over 4,700 passing yards with a 38-12 touchdown to interception ratio, while also picking up nearly 500 yards on the ground and 9 touchdowns. Now, a quarterback, again, that is able to do it with his arms and his legs, and kind of fitting in the same vein as Drake May, Joshua Dobbs, and now Ben Waldridge. I'm not sure if he actually sticks around, probably more of a practice squad quarterback if he gets there. And we'll be interested to see that based upon what other NFL teams do when they start truncating their own rosters, if the Patriots don't go and get one of these lower tiered quarterbacks, younger guys that have potentially a higher ceiling than Waldridge does as well. We had earmarked guys like Riley Leonard and Max Brosmer. Again, there will be opportunity for it, but I think for the New England Patriots, as long as Drake May is there and Joshua Dobbs is as well, it is really just looking for the emergency quarterback and potential developmental one at the same time. Finally, a fun thing for the Patriots, as we have confirmed that they will indeed have a new uniform for next season. The caveat for that, though, is that it will only be for one game and will be part of the NFL and Nike's new rivalries campaign, which starts with the NFC West and AFC East, as each of those teams will get a new jersey for a quote-unquote rivalry game. No word on what those will look like and entail. It will be gear, it will be uniforms, and around those divisional game matchups, but we won't find out more or what they look like or even when those matchups will come or who they're against until after the NFL schedule release in mid-May. But what this does mean is that it is another opportunity for that Patriot Royal Blue to make its way back to Foxborough. And Drake May had teased it, as well as several other players at certain times throughout this offseason. So again, will be interesting to see if it could make a return and what that type of iteration would look like. I don't think it will be that massive logo across the shoulder pad on each side, but I think looking at that color scheme to potentially make a return, probably not a bad thing, and definitely would be a top seller. And again, this does mean that Pat the Patriot and those throwback reds will still be in the rotation with the current white and navy blues as well. That'll do it for us on this episode of Pat's Latest. Again, the NFL draft has come and gone, but that means we get to break down what this roster construction really starts to look like in the coming weeks before we get to OTAs, training camp, and everything else. And before we know it, we're going to be strapping up those pads and having a chance to see if this team is as improved as it does look on paper. Again, make sure you go down and subscribe for our channel. Get in the comments and let us know what you think of the Patriots draft and what they need to do to ensure that they are competing for a playoff spot in 2025. Give us a like if you like what you hear, and go back and check out our other episodes. Fight on, Foxborough.